Have you ever had a moment in life when everything felt like it was falling apart? Maybe it was a difficult breakup, the loss of someone dear to you, a plan you worked so hard for suddenly collapsing. In those moments, it's easy to feel lost, like you're being swallowed by the chaos around you. But then, something simple cuts through the noise. A whisper, a melody, a phrase. Let it be. Those three little words sung by the Beatles hold a wisdom that's much deeper than we often realize. Let It Be isn't just a nostalgic tune, it's an invitation, a way of life. And strangely enough, it carries the heart of Buddhist philosophy. More than 2,000 years ago, the Buddha taught a path to end suffering, not by escaping life, not by running from pain, but by understanding it, facing it, and ultimately letting go. And that's exactly what Let It Be encourages us to do. You see, Buddhism doesn't tell us to pretend everything's fine. It doesn't ask us to numb ourselves or ignore the hard stuff. Instead, it teaches us to sit with it, to breathe through it, and most importantly, to accept it. But what does that actually look like in everyday life? How do we embrace the messiness of being human, the uncertainty, the heartbreak, the change, without letting it break us? How do we let go, not in a passive way, but in a powerful, conscious way? These are the questions we'll explore together in this video, not through theory, but through real stories, ancient wisdom, and everyday reflections. So if you're someone who's ever felt overwhelmed by life, if you've ever asked, why is this happening to me? Or wondered how to stop the cycle of stress, resistance, and inner turmoil, this message is for you. And no, you don't need to be Buddhist or spiritual or even a Beatles fan. You just need to be human, because the truth is, pain is universal, but peace is possible, not by fixing everything, not by controlling the world around you, but by learning to let it be. So take a deep breath with me. Let's begin this journey into the heart of suffering, the beauty of impermanence, and the freedom that comes with letting go. Let it be not just a song, but a way of living. Let's be honest for a moment. Life is hard sometimes, not just in a bad day kind of way, but in the deep aching kind of way, where loss feels like a hole in your chest, where a dream you held so close just slips away, or when someone you love is no longer there. And if you've felt that, you're not alone. Because suffering is universal. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, or what you believe. At some point, pain touches all of us. More than 2,500 years ago, the Buddha saw this clearly. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said, life contains suffering. It's the first of what's called the Four Noble Truths, a kind of ancient wisdom roadmap for understanding why we hurt and how we can heal. So why do we suffer? The Buddha didn't just point out the pain, he explained the cause. Attachment, craving, clinging, holding on. We attach ourselves to things, people, ideas, believing they'll last forever or bring us permanent happiness. But here's the hard truth. Everything changes. Relationships end. Jobs are lost. Bodies age, dreams evolve or fade. And when we hold on too tightly to what's meant to move, we suffer. Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone through a breakup and thought, if only things had gone differently, or lost a loved one and found yourself replaying every memory, refusing to accept they're gone, or had a plan fall apart and thought, but it wasn't supposed to be this way? That pain, it's not just from the event itself, it's from our resistance to it. We don't want it to be real. We push back, we grip tighter, and that's what makes it hurt more. Buddhism says, what if we did the opposite? What if instead of running from suffering, we faced it? What if instead of clinging, we let go? That brings us to the third and fourth noble truths. There is a way out of suffering, and it's not through denial or distraction. It's through awareness and action. It's through something called the Eightfold Path, a set of practical steps that help us live with more wisdom, compassion, and peace. But before we get to those steps, we have to take the first, most honest one, to look at where we are, to acknowledge the pain instead of numbing it, to stop pretending and turn on the light, even if the room feels dark. Because when we see clearly, we can begin to heal. You see, let it be isn't just a catchy line from a song. It's an echo of Buddhist wisdom. It's a whisper that says, accept what is, let go of what was, trust what's becoming. And it all starts with understanding our suffering, not as a weakness, but as a doorway to freedom. So the question is, are you willing to walk through? Let me ask you something. Have you ever wished you could freeze time, hold on to a perfect moment, stay young just a little longer, keep someone you love from slipping away? Yeah, me too. There are days when I wish I could hold life still, like pausing a song just before the best part fades. But no matter how tightly we try to grip the moment, it keeps moving. That's the nature of life. Everything changes, the seasons shift, people come and go, our bodies age, our thoughts and emotions rise and fall like waves. In Buddhism, this truth has a name, anicca, impermanence. It means nothing lasts forever. Not our happiness, not our sadness, not even the ground beneath our feet. But here's the paradox. Even though we know everything changes, we still resist it. We try to hold on to routines, to relationships, even to identities we've outgrown. We crave stability, as if life is supposed to stay the same. Why? Because change feels scary. Uncertainty feels like standing on shifting sand. And let's be honest, letting go, that's one of the hardest things in the world. Think about it. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt surprised by the lines on your face? Or watched your child grow up and wonder where the time went? Have you ever felt the ache of watching someone drift away, even if you both knew it was time? We suffer not because things change, but because we wish they wouldn't. It's like trying to catch water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. The Buddha said life is like a river. It keeps flowing, and when we try to fight the current, we exhaust ourselves. But when we let go, when we allow ourselves to move with the river rather than against it, that's when we find peace. Now here's the beautiful part. Impermanence isn't something to be feared. It's what makes life precious. A sunset moves us because we know it won't last. A song stirs our heart because it has an ending. A moment becomes meaningful because it can't be repeated. If everything lasted forever, we'd stop noticing the beauty in anything. Change gives life texture, color, urgency. So what if, instead of resisting change, we embraced it? What if we stopped fearing endings and started cherishing beginnings? What if we let go of the illusion of permanence and found freedom in the flow? Let it be that simple phrase whispers the same wisdom. Don't force it. Don't cling. Just let life be what it is and meet it with presence and grace. Because the truth is, nothing is guaranteed, not even the next breath. And that's not meant to scare us. It's meant to wake us up, to love deeper, to savor more, to live with open hands. So the next time something shifts in your life, instead of asking, why is this happening? Try asking, what is this teaching me? And maybe, just maybe, you'll find that impermanence isn't the enemy of peace. It's the doorway to it. Have you ever held on to something so tightly that you ended up breaking it? Maybe it was a relationship you tried to save, even though it was slowly falling apart. Maybe it was a job you stayed in too long because the thought of leaving scared you. Or maybe it was a version of yourself you clung to, even though deep down you knew you had already outgrown it. We all do it. We hold on to people, to things, to ideas of how life should be. And most of the time, we don't even realize that what we're doing is causing us pain. There's a common misunderstanding when we talk about letting go. Some people hear non-attachment and think it means giving up or not caring. They pick. Tour someone cold, emotionally distant, detached from love or joy. But here's the truth. Non-attachment doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you love with open hands, not clenched fists. It means you stop trying to own people. You stop tying your identity to things that can and will change. It means you live fully, but without fear of loss. Let me share something personal. Years ago, I was in a relationship that had clearly run its course. We were both different people. We were growing in separate directions. But I stayed, not because it was still right, but because I was afraid of letting go. And the longer I stayed, the more I suffered. Not because she hurt me, but because I was clinging to something that no longer existed. I was chasing a memory and running from reality. That's what attachment does. It keeps us stuck, not in the past or the future, but in fear. And fear, as we know, is a terrible place to live. Buddhism teaches that freedom comes when we stop clinging, not when we stop caring, but when we stop trying to control what was never ours to control in the first place. Think about this. Everything in life is borrowed. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, even your own body. It's aging, changing, moment by moment. And the people we love, they're not possessions. They're not ours to mold or manage. They're souls on their own journey, and real love means allowing them that freedom. Imagine a bird landing in your hand. If you try to grab it, it'll struggle, and eventually fly away. But if you let it rest freely, it might stay. Not because it has to, but because it chooses to. Love works the same way. The tighter we grip, the more we suffocate it. The more we let go, the more space we give for it to breathe, to grow, to become something deeper than control, something real. So how do we live this way? With things, enjoy what you have, but don't let it define you. Use your possessions, but don't let them possess you. With people, love deeply, but don't expect permanence. Be grateful for the time you have, knowing that all relationships evolve. With success, work hard, but don't attach your worth to the outcome. Celebrate wins, but don't build your identity on them. With emotions, feel them, but don't become them. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Letting go isn't about being passive. It's about being present. It's about shifting from a mindset of control to one of connection, from gripping tightly to living with grace. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Let It Be is really whispering to us. Not to force, not to fix, but to trust, to open our hands and let life unfold. Let's face it, we live in a world that moves fast. Fast food, fast internet, fast results. We've been trained to believe that everything should happen now, that if something takes time, it's broken, or worse, it's failing. But real life, real transformation, it doesn't work that way. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. Even clarity takes time. And that's where patience, real, soul-deep patience, becomes one of the most powerful inner tools we can cultivate. Think about this. When was the last time you felt truly impatient? Was it in traffic, waiting for someone to text you back? Or maybe you were frustrated with yourself, wondering why you're still struggling with the same old habit or fear. What was really causing that frustration? Was it the moment itself? Or was it your expectation of how fast things should be happening? Buddhism teaches us something profound. Suffering doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from resisting what's happening. Let that sink in. It's not the traffic that ruins your day. It's your refusal to accept that you're not moving. It's not the slow progress that breaks your spirit. It's your belief that you should be further ahead by now. That should, that internal pressure, is what creates the tension. But what if we dropped the should? What if, instead of fighting every delay or detour, we started asking, what is this moment teaching me? What if this isn't a setback, but a sacred pause? When you're standing in line, can you take a deep breath and feel your feet on the ground instead of checking your phone every 5 seconds? When someone is taking longer than you hoped, can you practice compassion instead of control? When you feel like you're not changing fast enough, can you remind yourself that all great things grow slowly? Let's talk about that last one. Personal growth. We all want to be better, more mindful, more peaceful, less reactive. But here's the truth. A tree doesn't rush to grow. It doesn't beat itself up because it's still a seedling on Monday. It trusts the process. It trusts the season. It trusts the light. And we can too. The person healing from trauma, the person learning to forgive, The person sitting down to meditate for the first time, none of them need to be perfect. They just need to keep going. That's what patience is, not waiting passively, but living actively with trust. Trust in the rhythm of life. Trust in your timing. Trust that the process, no matter how slow, is still movement. And that brings us back to this simple phrase, let it be. Not fix it now, not force a breakthrough. Just let it be. Let the seed take root. Let the storm pass. Let the heart take the time it needs to soften, to forgive, to grow. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is pause, breathe, and say, I don't need to rush this, because peace isn't found in speed, it's found in presence. And presence, real presence, is only possible when we accept this moment exactly as it is. So the next time you feel that pull to hurry, to judge, to push life forward, remember there will be an answer. Let it be. Have you ever been in a conversation, nodding your head, pretending to listen, but your mind was somewhere else? Maybe you were thinking about what to cook for dinner, or replaying a moment from yesterday that still stings, or planning 10 steps ahead for a future that hasn't even happened yet. We all do it. We're physically here, but mentally, we're anywhere but now. In Buddhism, there's a powerful answer to this. It's called mindfulness, the simple, life-changing act of being fully present, not caught in the past, not worrying about the future, but awake to what's happening right now. And that sounds simple, but in a world filled with endless distractions, notifications, and mental noise, being truly present is actually revolutionary. So what is mindfulness really? It's not just sitting cross-legged and burning incense, though that's nice too. It's noticing the taste of your food, the sound of your breath, the feel of your feet touching the ground as you walk. It's giving someone your full attention when they speak, not just hearing their words, but feeling their energy. It's pausing, even for a few seconds before you react, so you respond with wisdom instead of impulse. When we practice mindfulness, something incredible happens. Ordinary moments become meaningful. Small things, a sip of tea, a breeze on your skin, the smile of a stranger, start to feel sacred. Why? Because we're actually there to experience them. And in those moments, we stop needing life to be perfect. We stop chasing happiness around the corner. We realize peace isn't in the next achievement, it's in the next breath. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you really tasted your food? Not while scrolling your phone, not while watching TV, but just you and the flavors, present, unhurried. Or when was the last time you listened to someone? Without interrupting, without planning your response, just listening. These small practices, they're powerful. They reconnect us to the world, to each other, and to ourselves. Here's the magic of mindfulness. It doesn't change the outside world. It changes the way we experience it. You'll still have challenges, traffic, arguments, unexpected bills. But when you meet them with awareness instead of reactivity, everything softens. You don't have to fight every emotion. You can observe it, like a cloud passing through the sky. Sadness, joy, anger, fear, they all rise and fall. And you remain steady, calm, aware. Let it be. That phrase isn't just a song lyric, it's a mindfulness mantra. It says you don't have to fix this moment. You don't have to analyze it to death. You don't have to escape it. Just be with it, fully, gently, without resistance. Because when we stop running, when we stop grasping, we finally touch peace. So today, slow down, feel your breath, taste your food, listen with your heart, and most importantly, be here now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, now, because now is enough. Let me ask you something personal. What are you still holding on to that deep down you know it's time to release? Maybe it's a toxic relationship that drains your energy, or a grudge you've carried for years, so heavy it's shaped the way you see the world. Maybe it's a version of yourself you've outgrown, but you're scared to let it go, because who would you be without it? We all carry something, and sometimes the bravest thing we can do isn't to push harder, but to release. In Western culture, the word renunciation often sounds harsh, like giving everything up or walking away from life. But in Buddhism, renunciation isn't rejection, it's freedom. It's about letting go of what no longer serves us so we can finally breathe. It's not about living with nothing. It's about living with less noise, less clutter, fewer burdens. It's about making space, space for peace, space for presence, space for joy. Let's be honest. We live in a world that tells us more is better. More stuff, more likes, more hustle, more identity. But what if more isn't the answer? What if freedom isn't in adding more, but in letting go? Letting go of that closet full of things you never wear. Letting go of the need to prove yourself. Letting go of that silent anger you've been carrying like armor. Letting go of a life plan that no longer fits who you are becoming. You see, we don't just cling to material things, we cling to old stories, to identities, to pain. We tell ourselves, this defines me, this keeps me safe. But all it really does is keep us stuck. There's a famous quote, maybe you've heard it. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Resentment doesn't protect us, it poisons us. And renunciation is the decision, not to forget, but to free yourself, to stop holding the burning coal and gently place it down. So what does renunciation look like in real life? It could be simplifying your home, not to impress anyone, but to reclaim your space. It could be forgiving someone, not because they were right, but because you're ready to be free. It could be letting go of your need to control every detail of life and finally exhale. It could be realizing that you are not your job, your car, your achievements, or even your past. You're something much quieter, much deeper, and that part of you doesn't need anything but presence. Let it be. It's not just a lyric, it's a way of living. It's a gentle whisper that says, you don't have to grip so tightly. You don't have to carry all of this alone. You don't have to force life into a shape it no longer fits. Let go. not because you're giving up, but because you're ready to grow. Real joy doesn't come from accumulation. It comes from connection, from simplicity, from enoughness. So today, take a quiet moment, look at what you're carrying, and ask yourself, is this still serving me? And if the answer is no, maybe it's time to set it down, not with anger, not with fear, but with love. Let it go, let it breathe, let it be. So here we are. After talking about suffering, impermanence, non-attachment, patience, mindfulness, and letting go, it all comes down to this: let it be. Three simple words. But what if they weren't just lyrics? What if they were a way of life? We often think of wisdom as something found in sacred texts, monasteries, or mountaintops. But true wisdom, it's found right here, in the everyday, in the way we handle a difficult conversation, in how we breathe when plans fall apart, in how we choose presence over panic, softness over struggle. That's the beauty of Buddhist philosophy. It doesn't ask us to run from life. It invites us to live more deeply within it. You don't have to wear robes or sit in silence for hours. You just have to show up fully, gently, without clinging to how things should be. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean becoming passive or careless. It means doing what you do with love, but not attaching your worth to the outcome. It means working hard, but accepting if things change. It means loving others fully, even when life takes them in different directions. It means forgiving yourself for not being perfect and trusting that healing takes time. So the question becomes, can we trust the flow of life, even when it doesn't go our way? Can we stop resisting reality and meet it with an open heart? Because when we do, something amazing happens. We begin to find peace, not in controlling everything, but in trusting that we don't have to. Think of the river. It doesn't force its way forward. It flows. It doesn't resist the rocks. It curves around them. It moves with grace. And so can we. The more we let go of fear, of control, of needing all the answers, the more space we create for joy, for clarity, for connection. Let it be becomes more than a phrase. It becomes a breath, a pause, a quiet whisper from within that says, you're okay. You're enough. And this moment, exactly as it is enough too. So what would it look like if you made this a way of life? If you let go a little more, trusted a little deeper, and chose presence over perfection? That's the invitation to stop fighting the current, to start flowing with it, to let go and let it be. Thank you for being on this journey with us. If something in this message spoke to your heart, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments. How do you practice letting go in your life? Let's keep this conversation going together, because peace is not found in holding on. It's found in the beautiful art of letting it be.